Cyndi Ramirez is the founder of Chillhouse, the cult wellness brand that had a part in coining the word self-care here in the US. What started as a downtown New York City nail salon and cafe has evolved into a nationwide nail care brand, now stocked in Target and backed by investors like Sophia Amoruso. In this episode, we talk about how Cyndi built a business that's both cool and commercial, how she thinks about the connection between the physical space in New York City and the nationwide nail products, and the honest realities of building a brand in public. Cyndi, welcome.
Hi.
We're so excited to have you in LA.
I want to move here.
I think you should
come join us.
You should definitely move here.
No, I really do love it here. I feel like it speaks to me. It speaks to my soul. But I'm in my Miami era now. So
Yeah, fair enough.
For a little
Miami is
bit.
also
Got to
great.
keep Miami cool.
yeah,
You're keeping it cool. So go ahead and
I'm
leave.
trying. I'm trying to recruit people. Like all my friends. I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
so nice here. It's paradise. And it is. It's great.
You started Chillhouse in 2017. It's gone
Mhm.
through a lot of, different things over the past years.
Mhm.
I'd love to just understand, what motivated you to start this. Can you give us a little bit background on you and what Chillhouse is and
Yeah.
how it came to be?
I mean, I can sit here for hours talking about how I think it all came together. There was an aha moment that inspired the idea, which was really affordable massages just weren't really a thing in New York. And so that kind of was the aha.
Oh, massages, not nails.
Massages at first,
Okay.
surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
Yes, I was trying to get a massage with my husband, and we kind of were like, so our options are like a basement $30 for an hour massage that were clearly feels like unethical, or like luxury
Yeah.
hotel experience. And so we noticed there was a big void, and then that kind of sparked the conversation about just like what my perfect space would be. And we always like said how, like on a Saturday, you're just like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Go to brunch and drink and then go to a bar, like maybe shop, spend money. Like I wanted a place that I could feel just like relaxed in, right? That didn't break the bank. So nails were a big part of my self-care practice. It's something I did weekly. So that's kind of how the nail conversation came into play. And then I always say I can't relax without a drink in my hand. As you can see, I have multiple beverages on me.
Same.
I have like drink anxiety. So that's where the cafe kind of came in. So it really was like the ultimate third space in New York back in the day. And that's still something that, stays with us with the flagship. And so
That's
Yeah.
so crazy because I so know you as nails only,
Well,
like,
now,
or
yeah.
exclusively. So it's just funny when you aim to start
No,
at
I
massages.
learned about the brand. Obviously, I think we shared PR in the beginning, but I was launching Flume in New York and I just was like, what do I do? There's like a snowstorm, it's cold,
Mhm.
and I just wanted affordable massages. I couldn't afford a $350 massage back
Precisely.
then.
Precisely.
And yeah, you built this true cult kind of community following right off the bat, off
Yep.
of what was ultimately from the outside a brick and mortar store.
It was just a
Right?
nice little brick and mortar
Yeah.
with cool branding.
Yeah.
And I think it had this big brand identity, and almost the space didn't match the brand identity.
Mhm.
It was too small of a space. We were busting
Mhm.
at the seams. It was really messy at times. And yeah, we were overflowing. And eventually I was like, we can't sustain this. And we moved.
I do want to talk a lot, kind of a little bit more about the origin story, but I'm curious because I also remember my sisters who were cooler than me and they knew about it. And we were visiting New York. They're like, we got to get a pic with chill tips and bangles.
Oh.
And so I had the impression you guys had been around a lot longer. So
really?
how did you hit the market and become cool instantly?
That's such a good question. I don't know. I think it was just the perfect storm of good PR, good partnerships that we did, lots of cool people coming by because it was a unique space at the
Mhm.
time. And I think it's still a unique space. There's
Mhm.
really nothing like Chillhouse. People tell me all the time, can you please bring this to LA? It doesn't exist. The reason it doesn't exist is because it's a really ambitious business model and
Mhm.
it's very complicated to keep afloat on just the brick and mortar revenue model alone.
Mhm.
So we've always had to add events, brand partnerships, curated retail, and obviously eventually our own product to
Mhm.
sustain the brick and mortar. So yeah, that's why. And I think people felt that. People felt that it was a passion project. And it really, I think that's really what made it feel authentic and fun to go and support.
I think that's also one of the things that was quite unique about your strategy is most people don't think of a like brick and mortar space, and you were right. Like it was very like small when you showed up, right? Like it was different to what you expected, but you were doing such big partnerships. Like you were thinking of it as like a global brand in a way. Like didn't you do a partnership with Nike? Like
Yes.
there was some huge things that I think like really helped grow the brand, and like how did you pull that off?
I don't know. Again, I think it really did come down to having a really strong brand identity to start, which is not something a lot of small businesses invest in right away. It looked like it was groomed or set up to be a big brand in the future. And I really do think that perception ended up kind of shaping the future of the brand. Because initially I raised on like a brick and mortar model. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to be a CPG business. We're going to lose, millions of dollars in the beginning. And that's not how we fundraise. Like my husband was, he's our COO and like fetch CFO because we don't have one. And he comes from the hospitality space. So that's the only way he's known how to fundraise. So yeah, it was very much not even on our radar that we could potentially be a big global brand. And we're not technically a global brand yet, right? We're just in the US. But that is, I think, perceptually what people thought we were setting out to do right away. We got like, one of the bigger things that happened was like, we weren't ready to raise, but I had a DM from Sophia Maruso like a few months into launching Chillhouse. She was like, I love what you're doing and I'm ready. It was like we became her first investment. That's when she first like decided to start angel investing, and she became our advisor. And I was like, shit.
That's
and
huge.
She started introducing us to like every VC under the sun. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not ready for this as much as you're not ready to give me money. But I still took the meetings. And I think, again, perceptionally, it just seemed like we were grooming ourselves for that. But I had no idea what we were doing.
So you launched without raising?
Like we launched with a small fund, like 450,000, I think, or 475 or something. Really just to open up the brick and mortar and just to have a little bit of cash reserves, but that's it. And then the rest of it was pretty much bootstrapped. And eventually we did like a small bridge loan or a small like bridge round, sorry, not loan, and a pre-seed. But like we never raised a ton from in the beginning. Yeah.
And how did you capitalize on like Sophia Amoruso being interested in investing and all of those VC conversations? Like, did you raise then, or was it just later when you like needed the money?
Later when we needed the money. Yeah, I think, again, we didn't know what the next path was. And the more I spoke to friends who were in the industry, it became clearer to me that replicating the physical brick and mortar was going to be really, really hard. The only way to really make money on that model would be to franchise. And again, it's a very complicated model, and it's very, I needed to protect the brand at the same time too. So I was like, I don't think we're a franchisable business.
Right.
So it was hard for me to decipher if that was the route and that was like what we were going to fundraise on, or if we were something else. And I hadn't quite figured out what that something else was because we didn't have the press-ons at the time, right?
Yeah.
And of course, with the press-ons, that became a whole different story.
But even before the press-ons, there was other products, right? Like there was the bath scrub.
That was actually after. We did a little body. Yes, I'll get into
body
it.
And oil. It's like, yeah, like was that like a COVID thing? Like at what point did you decide? Was it because you realized like this isn't franchisable? Like we need to expand the business with something that we can like share nationally, because you guys did get so much national press, which is probably frustrating, right?
Yeah,
to get that kind of PR and like have no conversion.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I have all of this, global visibility, and like we're only a physical store, and there's a cap on how much you can make at this physical store, based on like our square footage and like how many services we can do. So yeah, the U curve is really quite small with a physical space, unless you like replicate it to the size of like an Equinox or like these mass physical stores, and maybe do a membership model or whatever. But we ended up launching like a little online shop with curated goods. So that was kind of our first foray into becoming a little bit of a lifestyle brand. And then we did candles, but like we can never get our margins to be good enough to actually wholesale them. So there was nothing like pre-COVID that we could actually build upon, because we were like at a 2x basically multiple on any of our products that we created in-house, like merch and whatever. We just couldn't wholesale. And without wholesale, it's kind of hard to scale.
Mhm.
Without that, like, larger multiple, it's kind of hard to scale.
And then how was the expansion in terms of like your own learning process of running brick and mortar to then a completely different business model where there's
Yeah.
3PLs and different kind of
So
margins and shipping and all of that?
when, like, we had zero experience. Okay, yeah. So basically, I'll give you the full story. So over COVID, we had been starting to talk about product, like actual, like creating our own formulated product or product where we actually had significant margin to sell into wholesale, right? Like a real branded product experience. We worked with a turnkey agency that I think was really crucial in our like early days working with someone that, we didn't have the capital to bring on a full-time product developer, or honestly, even a
Mhm.
fractional one. They're
Mhm.
quite expensive, right? So we were able to work with a turnkey agency that had maybe like higher COGS
Mhm.
per unit, and but we still had enough margin there to start selling into wholesale. So that was really the big unlock for us. And we started with press-ons because we saw that it was one of those products that we were still kind of early on, and obviously, COVID times, it was the perfect opportunity
Mhm.
given all the salons were closed, everyone was doing their nails at home, and it
Yeah.
was still pretty early on as far as products that hadn't been, like, fully innovated yet, right? There were a lot of, like, drugstore brands, and there were some newcomers starting to pop up here and there, but there was definitely room for someone that could do nail art really
Mhm.
well, and we were very well known for our nail art in New York.
Mhm.
Like, there were a few designs that everyone kind of identified as Chillhouse, and even with, I think, one of our secret sauce, people are like, why did your tips pop off?" I kind of refer it back to our designs having such a clear brand connection where people knew immediately that those were Chillhouse.
Mhm.
So whereas, like, it's hard to sell like a lip gloss. You put on a lip gloss and people don't really know that
Mhm.
that's that. People I see on TikTok every day now, people like spot nails are like, those are Chillhouse. And so that to me, that's always been the thing that has set us apart from the
Yeah.
other brands. So the nail art was really the thing that drove the press-on business in the start,
Mhm.
and then people were like, "Wow, the quality is really good." And so we got phone calls from Urban Outfitters, they were our first retailer,
And
and
this is like
then
2020 or
this is
2021?
2020.
Okay,
2020, they were the first. They knocked on the door, I think, pretty much the first week that we
that's
launched.
amazing.
And then eventually we got the Target call.
Mm.
And then all of the other products were kind of a test,
Mhm.
honestly. We didn't know if we were gonna be able to grow in Target. We were
Yeah.
like, "Okay, yes, we have the conversations going, but what are we gonna be a nail brand? We don't know yet. Like, let's
Mhm.
see how growth evolves." But in the meantime, we also have face and body care at the store, so I wanted to create products that were inspired by our services too.
Yeah.
And so we did, but they didn't really hit as hard as the nail products. So the nail products have really become the driving force of the CPG.
Wow, so Target came to you. That's huge.
Yes. This was a really funny story. They came to us actually for Hispanic Heritage Month. This was when, like, obviously diversity was very cool, right? And
Mhm.
like and all the retailers were jumping on the bandwagon, which of course I'm very glad that they were, but they came to me for that specific end cap opportunity, which was basically just one shelf at the end of the beauty aisle alongside a few other fellow, beauty founder Latina beauty founders. So I think Julissa from Rizos was on there, Jessica Alba, Honest
Mhm.
Company.
I think I remember this. What year are we in?
I think this was 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was like September 21. Yeah, so like a year into having the line. So I'm like, wow, huge opportunity. Like, what does this mean? I don't know. Like, this even like, I don't even know if it was a buyer reaching out. I think it was more of like a marketing person that
Right.
put us forward for this, but then we became part of their, like, the buyer then knew to reach out the following year. But we
Mhm.
actually almost could have messed that up so badly because we had no idea what we were doing. Our logistics were a mess. We didn't have a broker. And effectively, we almost missed the window of shipping in time to the point where we only actually made it to one of the DCs. And so therefore, we looked like we were sold out everywhere.
Which
Except in, like,
was
the
that good
Texas
or bad?
Was
area.
it was it a
Well,
good thing?
people I think so, and I was kinda
Yeah.
like, "You know what? I'm not gonna say anything."
Yeah.
And I talk about it now like it's funny, but perceptionally, I think people thought we were just really sold out. And I'm like, no, we just didn't fucking get our
Oh my God, but
inventory.
was Target mad? Like, I'm surprised that didn't damage the relationship.
Correct. I think, it was like young brand, we'll let it slide.
Yeah.
And I think we did really well, at least, in that wherever we did actually end up having the inventory. And then the rest of it was on .com. And I think we did move on .com because we were still very early on in like our own .com. And so people were finding it on Target and shopping it there too. So yeah, I think luckily they were happy.
And you said that you're doing like what 100% year-on-year growth at Target now?
100% year-over-year growth. Yeah, we have like full inline, like we're like locked in.
Yeah.
Thank God. And we're officially in full chain as of next year.
Amazing.
Mhm.
And so now do you work with a broker?
Yes,
Okay.
of course. So we got a broker as
Same.
soon as we went inline fully. We worked with someone. We've moved around a couple, but
There's so much to navigate.
yeah. We're now with Walmart too. So we moved from a broker that was kind of just like only Target to someone that did both. That way we can get a better, obviously, price on
And did
our
you pitch
commission.
yourself in Walmart, or how'd you get in Walmart?
Walmart came to us too.
Amazing.
But, that's what happens a lot of times
Yeah.
with mass retailers. They see your product and then they call you. But no, of course, we still have to pitch. We still have to make a good case for it. We went to Bentonville. We did the whole song and dance. And yeah, we're officially in Walmart as of September. A little under 400 doors, I think, increasing
As
to
of this,
5.
so just now.
Just now, we just launched, yeah. And then next year, increasing door count and doubling our SKU.
I mean, that could change the business.
Yeah. Doubling our SKU count is pretty insane.
And do you find that like getting into huge retailers like that, you're in and then the next day like sales grow massively, or there's
Not so much. I mean,
right.
yes, you get that like big bump in your PO, but it's about sustaining it and investing in the partnership too. So we're navigating that because we've only ever had Target really, and Walmart is a whole nother beast, and I think it's a very different strategy. So yeah, I'm like getting on calls with friends who are in there and trying to really understand what drives the needle. And we still, I think, trying to figure out what drives the needle in Target too. I think we've just had really good success there. Like I think our product really stands out amongst our competitors because we have colorful packaging, whereas our competitors are like white and pink and like. So I think that was the initial thing that really made us kind of stand out. And now it's like I think everyone is maybe they have decision fatigue. So there's so many options. So it's definitely like our productivity isn't like as high as it once was, but it still does very well.
But you're the premium.
We're the
selection,
premium
right?
too.
Yeah.
So I think from a premium price point, it makes sense for them to keep us on shelves. But if we're talking like, what's the Walmart customer, they definitely probably prefer the $10 option still. So it's a test for them, but I think it'll go well. We just have to like figure out how to speak to our audience in there.
It's tough being in a big retailer and being the premium. That's Bala too. And I feel like there's unique challenges with that for sure because people can just get the cheaper option.
Of course. And they will. And that's okay. That's not your customer. And I think it's all about, for me, it's continuing to expand the brand vision and the identity and get people to be excited to represent Chillhouse when they wear them.
Yeah. I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about your own personal community, but first, like you briefly launched a store or a spa in Paris. Like, can you tell us like how
buried? I'm kidding. I don't care.
No, I thought it was like so interesting because I think there's so many learnings in that, which is also like how we want this podcast to offer value.
Of course. No, I'm happy to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean,
I want to hear about the fail. I didn't even know this was a fail, so let's hear about it.
Oh my God, it's the biggest fail of our lives.
Really?
We literally could have put us out of business. It was such a money suck. So the way it all happened, my husband and I just happened to be in Paris vacationing, and I got an email with this interesting opportunity to go to Galeries Lafayette and meet with them about this really interesting opportunity that they had, building a wellness floor, et cetera, et cetera. They love Chillhouse. They've seen us, they've been watching us. They'd love to see if we'd be interested in opening there. I'm like, oh my God, amazing. Like the dream, like having to, it was a selfish decision.
I think we got that email too. Okay, but keep going.
Exactly. Like,
or
I'm sure many people
talk to them about something.
Yeah. I mean, and I think you forget that sometimes that they're really like just trying to sell something too. And I just didn't know what my next step was. Like, I know, of course, we had the products, but I didn't have a vision for what was the next kind of where was the next tranche of money going to go? Because we had just raised a little bit to get us through this next kind of growth period. And this opportunity presented itself. And, my husband and I, we ended up at some like little cafe, and it was still like COVID times. I think people were still kind of like mostly dining outside. So we ended up at some like little wine shop. We're like, let's just sit on it after post meeting. Let's just sit on it. This was really interesting. They like gave us the champagne, the whole tour, the whole presentation. I was like, oh, so dreamy. This is crazy. And then we ended up sitting down at this wine shop next to this really lovely French woman, or so I thought was a French woman. She ended up having to translate to the like shop owner about like how to, help us close out our bill or whatever. I'm like, thank you so much. And turns out she's American. I'm like, oh, you're American. She's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you do? She's like, oh, I'm here. I help like businesses, kind of US businesses open up globally, especially in the UK market. And I just like saw that as such a sign when I should have just been like, that was a test. And I let that really dictate the decision, because in that moment, I was just really looking for something to say yes to this.
And you had the money too to spend.
And I had the money, but I didn't, of course, that's not where I should have spent it, right? So yeah, effectively, we were able to convince them to help us out financially a lot, which I think also kind of convinced me that at the bare minimum, the operation might be expensive, but like the build out cost wasn't there. Like there were a lot of other benefits to being small still and having them kind of court us a little bit, right? So yeah, eventually we opened, and it was just the biggest disaster of a train wreck of my life. It's just really hard to open up in another country. We were hit with a lot of, potential lawsuit, like little things,
Really?
like, I mean, that felt very like I was being attacked.
Whoa.
Because you open yourself up to people thinking you're a bigger brand than you are, or like, oh, you're global. You opened up in Paris, like, ooh, you must be whatever. It's like, no, we weren't, and we were barely surviving the operational expenses.
Because you still had to cover the operation, they didn't handle
No,
that.
yeah, of course. We were still
Wow.
an independently owned company. We had to open up an EU entity and run as an EU business. But that's good because we were able to shut down, bankrupt the business, and it didn't affect our US operations. But we were helping fund the store in Paris. Like the US store, the US operations was helping fund that and keep it in business. So much to the point where I was like, we can't do this anymore. We have to.
Also, just from like a focus perspective,
Focus.
like all your focus and time on a different time difference going
Yeah.
into something that is not what is generating revenue.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I might see that, like, the way you laid it out, I'm like, oh, that seems like a good opportunity, an expansion opportunity. So I could see how it went that way.
If you really wanted to infiltrate the EU, but at the time I didn't, our tips weren't even selling there. They're
Yeah.
so new to
Yeah.
them. They weren't really into that. They're
Yeah.
very natural country.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and we didn't have polish. We didn't have anything else
Yeah.
to sell them. So no, it didn't make sense. It wasn't the right market to enter. In hindsight, had I entered another city in the EU or country, would have been like London.
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense for us. But yeah, and so it was definitely a selfish decision.
How long until it was how long was it?
I think it was like 8 months.
Okay.
So it was
pretty
in and
long.
out.
in and out.
Oh, I
Really?
think that's
I mean,
long.
to stand up an operation though, I feel like you gotta have at least
You have
6
to give it
months
like
in
a
there.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what are you doing? 2 months? Like, you can't do that.
They're
Yeah.
definitely like, you didn't give it enough of a chance. I'm like, trust me, I did. Like,
Yeah.
I am at my wit's end, and there was so much drama. I was.
I want to hear about that later, but I'm sure some people saw it and were like, "Whoa,
Of
like
course.
big company." I mean,
Yeah.
So maybe it didn't. Maybe from a marketing perspective, there was hopefully some value. We have some flops like that.
I'm still trying to figure out what the lesson learned there was, or what. Yeah.
Eye on every decision and dollar. I mean, that's
Yeah, I think
Maybe
it's
just
also like
focus.
the importance of
focus
focus.
is so
Yeah.
hard.
It's also like thinking about demographics, that like
Mhm.
a demographic just because it exists here doesn't exist somewhere else.
Absolutely.
People are so different. Like I found that with Flume, like the buyers in the UK wanted a completely different product from the buyers in the US.
Mm.
Like there's so many differentiations. People aren't just people everywhere. There's so much
Exactly.
cultural nuance.
Cultural,
That's
nuance is
tough.
everything.
That's a tough
It's a great
lesson.
way to say it.
But I guarantee everyone we've interviewed has had a crazy situation that has almost put them out of business.
Yeah.
That was one.
And when they haven't, I'm like, you're lying.
Yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah,
All
like
about
you
their
have.
bullshit.
You have.
Yeah.
So,
It's never all peaches and flowers on the way up.
yeah.
Okay, so I think of you as like a very like a New York person. Like so much of your identity is like being a New Yorker.
know.
And then like you picked up and moved to Miami.
We
Like,
did.
How has that affected the business? Has it at all? You guys still go back and forth a lot?
Back and
Like,
forth a lot. I don't think it really affects the business personally. I don't know. Maybe my team has other opinions on it, but we try to be there as much as we can. I'm
because
there
your
like
team's still in
every
New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a small team in Miami now too. We have a little office that I set up in the house, and
Mhm.
so I have 2 girls that work with me from the office. And yeah, so we're kind of like building a little bit of our operations down there too.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to shoot a lot more down there so that I can be there and I don't have to fly up for all of our e-com shoots and all of everything that like I really want to be hands-on with. But it's been fun. I like the back and forth. And it was obviously like more my husband trying to convince me, but it was at a time where I think it was 37 or so. I was pregnant with my second, or maybe I was pregnant with my second. And even with my first, I was like, okay, we're like busing out of our apartment. Like, this is not like, what's the next move, right?
Mhm.
We couldn't stay there, obviously, with the second. So we had that kind of fork in the road moment with the second pregnancy. And we talked a lot about like what would life be like in the suburbs of New York. And I think ultimately we were like, no, like we want to be in a city, but I don't think we can be in New York City anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The winters really weighed on my husband's mental health a lot, myself too, because I'm very impacted by his mental health. So yeah, we ended up buying a condo prior to moving full time as like an investment, do the snowbird thing, see what it was like, and then eventually we'd make the full time move.
Yeah.
Right when I was about to give birth.
Interesting. And I think like you were kind of one of the first people to, we use this term now, like build in public. And I don't know if that was intentional. Just like Chillhouse was the first branding of brick and mortar to like look like D2C,
Yeah.
right? Like now, like every dentist looks like it's D2C, or every like doctor's place. So like, was that intentional? And like, do you feel like it brings value in terms of sales or brings value in other ways?
That's interesting. You mean with the brick and mortar?
I mean, with your
My personal.
your personal following and how you show up online.
Mhm.
For sure. I mean, I think it's important if that's your intent for you to be the face of your brand, to be transparent about how you're building. Obviously, I don't air out all of our dirty laundry, and you have
Yeah.
to be a little careful. But I do think it's very valuable. And like one of the things that I wish I would have seen growing up in my 20s is women like me, like they were being transparent about how they're doing it and gave me hope. And, and one of the reasons I loved, like, for example, Sophia Maruso growing up is because she was not like a buttoned up entrepreneur. And
Yeah.
so I try to also show that side of me. I'm a 2-time college dropout. I had no corporate experience prior to Chillhouse. Granted, I've had a lot of people in my orbit that have helped me, but I'm not the person that's necessarily you would think is groomed to grow a 8-figure business as the CEO. But I
Mhm.
am. I'm doing it, and I'm going to see how long I'm able to. But I think it's totally like this day and age, anyone and everyone and anyone can start a business.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to show that and give people some glimpse of hope.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were definitely like one of the OG like female founders like from that like era on social. So I think that's really cool. Do you have any tips for how you show up online? Also saw your daughter video just went like crazy viral.
My God,
Like
I
any tips
know.
for going viral or like showing up online?
I mean, that's like the most viral moment I've had is see
A picture
me
of your daughter.
be adorable.
Did you do it? Or
I don't know.
was there strategy behind it? Or like was it like
No.
accidental you're posting everything and that
No.
one took?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how it goes sometimes, right? It's like
That's what Nadia says too.
Yeah.
the
It's
less
like authenticity.
the less you care, the more it could pop off. I don't know. I mean, we've had a couple of little viral moments, but honestly, not as much as you think. We've just been like on this game of like just showing up,
Yeah.
showing up as best as we can. Same with me. I think my unlock though was really hiring a social media manager to really keep me straight line and like have a little bit of a strategy
Mhm.
behind it. So I'm not just like posting like a bunch of random shit, but like sometimes I just like to post a bunch of random shit.
Mhm.
Like Like I hit her up yesterday. I'm like, what am I posting today? I'm like, never mind. I'm just going to post something.
Do you post every
know?
day? Like, are you just like, no shame, I'm just going?
I'm trying to post every day now, which I know is a lot.
It's a lot.
And on TikTok too, we're in there trying to.
Once a week, I'm
Ugh.
like, I got to do a TikTok video. This is horrible.
You have to do it every day.
I know, but I can't. Like,
Otherwise, the
that's
algorithm.
crazy.
I mean, even that is so frustrating for me
Yeah.
because I'm stuck in this like 400 view world, and it's frustrating because I have good engagement on Instagram. So I'm like, so that Stevie video that I posted, I think got like maybe 800 views on TikTok, and it got like
800,000.
No, 800.
Oh,
Same exact one.
And then she got millions on Instagram. Interesting.
Whoa.
So you just post every day. What do you like? How do you come up with the creative? Is that your social person that does it?
It's a mix of like, how do I want to show up for myself and for the people that follow me just for me, my community, and how do I want to show up for the business? So I try to be pretty, I don't want to say 50-50. I definitely think like Chillhouse has a lot more visibility than maybe me and my personal life does at this point. And I think that's kind of only going to increase, but it's about how to weave it in naturally, So, and I do think a lot of my entrepreneurship stuff or my founder stuff is the thing that really resonates with my audience. So like all of our wins showing that, showing the process of how it's done. I think that really, it's what I think my audience wants to see. So it's like just feeding them more of what they want. So like looking at the data, like what do they want to see?
And what is your day-to-day like now?
With
8 years into the business, like with Chillhouse. What does your day-to-day look like?
So if I look at it like a week, all of my meetings are sort of all sandwiched in the middle. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are really like you can't get my time other than my team kind of days. And then the other 2 days are really set up so that I could have a little more flexibility with creating content. So that's when I try to like do my blocks. And then of course I have to give myself some time to create, not just for social, for like product development. So that's like either done after work a lot of times or honestly like weekends, like or like Fridays. Fridays could be like my little creative day or Mondays. So whatever day I don't have like blocks on my calendar.
And I saw that you guys are refurbing the physical space.
We did. Yeah, we launched it.
It opened.
Wow.
Yeah, we worked with Madeline Ringo from Ringo Studios.
Yes, we worked with Madeline too.
She's amazing. I know. We did a little talk with her at the store to talk about design, and she mentioned Bala, and it was like, she said that you guys were doing all these great events out of there and like, really building a great, I remember that store vividly, and I was like, whoever designed this is a genius, and like I want to work with them. And
She's
so here we are.
amazing.
She's so great. They're so talented. But yeah, that was really important to us to invest in the visuals of the space because we invested in the visuals of our brand this past year too, really kind of like fine-tuning the identity, making it make sense for where we're heading. Because we were kind of like, as a 2017 millennial brand, we were kind of stuck in this like peach, very like pastel-y world for so long. And we're obviously like a color brand now. We're about self-expression. We're about design and art. And you can't, I can't be like, I don't know, doing peach with brown. It just didn't make sense. I had all these seasons that I had to design for, and the brand wasn't lining up with the actual other element, which was the product. So that was a very big exercise for us. And then of course, like once you do your digital brand identity, you have to make sure that the store reflects that and it makes sense.
And as a brand that's now like, in Target, Walmart, D2C, like what do you think the store adds as value?
Community hub, yeah. Experiential. And that's always been what we do well. The cafe has always been there. Honestly, not much has changed other than we want to actually spend more time on these kind of community gatherings and having unique ways to introduce new audiences into the store. Because I feel like people that know us, but there are so many new people in the city every single day.
Yeah.
And it really shocked me. We did this exercise over the summer when we were closed for renovations. We did something called the Soho Sabbatical. And I was like, yes, we're going to promote this on Instagram, but let's just fucking go hard on TikTok. So we started a new TikTok account, Chillhouse Soho, which is just kind of like a New York account. all about the store. We separated the businesses a little bit, and we think of them as separate businesses now.
Do they have separate P&Ls?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people get paid from different businesses. So they
Makes
run.
sense, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it does make sense. And I think they are very different businesses. So it makes, and marketing wise, they're different businesses too. So we have to think of them differently. But yeah, so we did this exercise. We just went hard on TikTok, and we realized that so many people didn't know who we were. And like people that I would think is our audience. And so we had this great week-long event where thousands of people showed up. They paid for a ticket to come, and they got like little express versions of what we do at Chillhouse. I want to say it unlocked like, oh my God, I'm going to forget this data. But yeah, we had like obviously thousands, over 1,000 new customers as a result of that. And then like now we're, of course, introducing them to our flagship for the first time. They have
Wow.
no idea what we did before that, but
Yeah.
they kind of were seeing this in a fresh new light with new eyes. So
I
it was
love
exciting for me to kind of be able to expose ourselves to a new New York audience.
that. Yeah, that's amazing.
If you were to give advice to someone who was like trying to come into this space, or like beauty, or self-care, what would you say?
Know what you want your distribution model to be. I mean, that's very specific, but if we're talking specifically to like an entrepreneur, like know where you want to be in like a year or two. And obviously make sure your margins are set up for that. And make sure you know your price point.
Yeah.
Because like your price point dictates so much of where you end up. And so with press-ons, for example, we were premium. Luckily, Target still was okay with the price point. But being a premium brand in mass doesn't allow for you to be a premium brand at Sephora.
Yeah.
So you really do need to know exactly where you want to end up. And I almost would say like your brand needs to align with that too a little bit, right? A little more attainable, maybe a little more mainstream, not as like edgy and like, cool, if you want to appeal to a wider audience. So I think of all those little details really before you just get too in the weeds.
And is Sephora on your roadmap
We can't go into Sephora.
at all?
I mean, not for nails.
Oh.
Maybe if we end up doing another category.
Okay.
We talked to them when we had our body products, but our body products weren't our main hero, so it didn't make sense.
So other categories, I'm
so
sure.
I'm glad
eventually.
it didn't work out. Like we're in a great place with I love where we are with our distribution. I think it's exactly where we need to be. We want to be the next legacy nail brand. That is on the business plan.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that we are in this distribution lane. I think a lot of times people have a hard time with Sephora too. I think it's kind of like the big like the wish list.
It really
bucket
works
list.
or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Correct.
So is there any tool you can give me? Like I'm talking like Gusto, Dash Hudson, like any tool that either you use or someone on your team uses that you really like, whether it's D2C, B2B, social, anything.
I don't know if it's that exciting, but I feel like Canva really changed our business operations.
Same.
Everyone
Canva.
uses Canva religiously. Everyone uses Asana but me.
Yeah.
So that's great for them.
Asana?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't use that.
Yeah, like what founder has
Great for
time
you.
for Asana? No, it's Asana for your team internally, of course, but I think Canva collaboratively between your creatives and your sales team and anyone and everyone that has anything to do with creative.
Yeah.
At all. That is great for us.
And I mean, I think you're coming up to you started 2017, so you're coming up to 8 years. What's next?
9 years.
9 years. What do you? Yeah,
we were 2018. I think we're going to be 8 years.
2026.
So
you're coming up.
Coming up to
We're
9. Yeah.
What do you like? How do you think about what's next? How do you self-motivate? What are the plans?
Yeah, we have a 3-year roadmap, which we just finished, which is very exciting. We're going to present it to the team. Everyone knows their lane. Everyone's going to know their goals. Very exciting for us because we've never done that. Not like this, not to this extent. And I think that's really important to put that in writing and do like a full kind of team review and give people hard numbers to hit and vision set. So for us, it is currently to be the next legacy nail care brand. But I do think that Chillhouse is more than nail care. So I'm open to exploring new categories, but it has to make sense. It has to make sense for the evolution of what people really love us for, which I do think is nail art, self-expression, color, and also like our mental health advocacy and like, us really showing up for the mental health community. And like, I think that's also a big part of it. And like remembering that nail care isn't just about like, obviously like you want to feel put together, but it also is a very self-care moment. So tying it back to that is really important. So we always make sure that that's always a through current, but the evolution is also to give people like meet people in their nail care journey and where they're at.
So you'll do nail polish? Oh,
It
you
has
do?
nail polish.
Okay. We
Polish,
can take that out.
yeah.
We can take that out. I
In,
didn't know that.
Yeah, we launched nail polish in April.
Okay.
And it's going really well. And we're launching a nail treatment in January called Super Tint. It's going to be really fun. It's like functional nail shades. And so again, yeah, meeting people where they're at in the nail care journey and seeing where that takes us.
I love it.
And we like to wrap up with a hot take.
Hot take, gel is not good for you.
Shoot.
I mean,
I mean, we kinda
100%
know
agree.
that,
It's
Are your
not
nails
for
real
me.
right now or are those tips?
No, these are tips.
Oh, they look so legit.
I obviously prefer tips over anything, even though I love polish, but gel to me is one of those things, like I'm a picker. So even though we do it at our store and it's like number one book service is a gel manicure, right? But I just would always pick at it because I'm a nail biter. So if I can't bite it
Same.
off, I just start picking because it's a nervous habit and I end up thinning out my nails. So whenever I did do gel, like that was like I can't ever go back to this. So
Isn't it
I don't
also
think
the
you'll catch
light?
us designing like doing gel unless
Yeah.
I was able to figure out the most non-damaging
Yeah.
Yeah.
version, even for nail biters or nail pickers, because I worry people will pick.
Well, yours are fine, but do you judge girls like
I don't judge.
Okay.
No, I
I
don't
mean,
judge.
my
People
nails are
always say
always
that to
done.
me.
Yeah.
I don't judge because
Yeah.
I'm like this a lot too.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
that's
why I
why
always
you
have press-ons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You
want to
stay in the
I want to try
car.
your press-ons because that
I have
looks
some for
those
you.
look so good,
Thank you.
girl.
These are classic.
My nails are always done.
All right. I think are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
We can end it on that. So thank you for coming.
Of course.
Let me take a